This has been a strange couple of months. No one expected this year to go like this. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm just going to dive into this video because it's about time we start speaking up and making our voice heard, not just saying it. These are going to be my opinions of what I think about the state of the world right now. It's what a year, right? I mean, I still remember in 2010 and like in past years, we thought 2020 was gonna be that year. We thought cars were probably gonna fly in 2020. Well, I think I thought that when I was like 8. We thought probably robots were gonna take over the world. I don't know, whatever our fantasies are. But in a way, nothing has really changed because the world is still as chaotic as ever. And it's just revealing itself to us this year. I think about 2020 as a year of clarity because nothing that happened this year is something new. It just showed itself this year. For example, the wildfire in Australia. We've been talking about climate change for the longest time. This wasn't something new. This was just the outcome of everything that went on throughout past years. We've been talking about climate change forever. We've been emphasizing on it. We've been showing so much concern about the earth and how hot it's getting. But we thought that it's probably just finding something to talk to us about. Like, that doesn't make sense. The fire in Australia was just an end result of it. It was just an outcome of what we've been talking about, of what people have been telling us about climate change. Then the killing of the Iranian general Qasem Soleimani. I don't even know anything about that one. I just know that we all thought we're heading to World War III and we're all panicking and everything. Yeah, this is a year of panic. That's what we did this year. Panic. Then the unfortunate helicopter crash that claimed the life of Kobe and Gianna Bryant and 7 other passengers. That was the one that really shook the world. It shocked us. And sometimes even saying it, we still can't believe that those people are not in this world anymore. Then we have coronavirus. That just showed us about how problematic our health system is. That just opened our eyes to how strange and unpleasant our health system is. We need to fix it. And the coronavirus isn't like, oh, let's fix it for now. Let's just fix it so we can deal with coronavirus. And once that's over, we're going back to our normal way of life, our normal problematic way of life. I don't think that's the point of this year. This year is supposed to teach us a lesson. We can't go on living like animals and like not having a backup system. Can you imagine? In the first 2 months corona hit us, we were shut on masks, we were shut on ventilators. And imagine on a normal year, when like last year, imagine what nurses and doctors were going through in the hospital, dealing with other patients that probably were not suffering for coronavirus. Mask. And no one knew about this till now. How? It's really crazy to me. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. Well, that gets me to my final and my main point of talking today and speaking to you guys today. The 400 years pandemic our world, especially country, has been facing. Racism. It's like we've glued our eyes shut and refused to see what is going on in the world. I want to make that clear now, that you understand that racism didn't start this year. Police brutality didn't start this year. This year just brought it to the light. This has been going on for decades. This has been going on forever. This didn't start this year. You know what changed this year? We changed this year. We've decided not to stay silent. That's what happened this year. This is not new. This is totally not new. Honestly, this shutdown because of coronavirus isn't such a bad thing. It's not such a bad thing. Don't get me wrong. Coronavirus has turned the world upside down. It has destroyed lives. It has taken lives from people. It's the most devastating thing ever. But I'm tired of seeing just the negative aspect of it. I'm tired of just dwelling on how bad it is without seeing the good side of it. Then I'm just being ignorant. Because you're telling me now that if we're not on lockdown, you would see people protesting the way they did this time. No, of course not. Because we're all at work. We're all at school. All we do is work, and work. We go to work, we make money, we come home, we finish the money, we go back to make more money. It's like our whole routine of life. What this lockdown has forced us to do is to sit at home and think. The main means of entertainment we have now is our TV screens, our phones. When you look at your phone, when you open to social media and everything you see is about police brutality, about people killing other people because they don't have the same skin colors. When you turn on your TV and you see people dying just because, you're definitely not a human being if you don't react. If you don't feel pain in your heart, then something is wrong with you. That's why you see people marching outside. That's why you see people protesting. That's why you see people fighting for their rights. Because on a normal basis, if it was back in 2019, if it was when everything was okay and everything was good, we would still be at work right now. We will still probably be at school. We will probably see this on TV for just a day or two and be like, oh, that's sad. You're going back to work. But when you're sitting at home and looking at your TV screen and all you see is people dying, all you see is blood being spilled, of course you're going to feel the pain and do something to change it. I was more than ecstatic when I see people of different races and colors marching outside. I'm more than happy. I see white people, I see black people, I see Spanish people, I see brown people. It gives me so much joy that we still have the sense of humanity in us. That we know that we're supposed to be our brother's keepers. We know that when one of us falls, we have to defend them. We have to fight for them. George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, all those that have died, they don't have a voice anymore. We're their voices. We're the ones speaking out for them. They've lost their voices, but we are their voices now. And if we don't speak up for them, we fail them. That's why you see us marching in the street. We're not doing that for entertainment purposes. We're doing that so people can hear us. Because racism didn't start today. I keep saying that. Racism did not start today. Racism is the worst pandemic this world has ever faced. And it keeps coming up with different names. I'm gonna give an example that I love giving. Racism is a sickness. It's a disease. It's a virus. And all we've done is to find temporary solutions to them. There is no difference between racism and COVID-19. It's like having a headache because you're sick, but you've refused to accept that you're sick. You're still in denial. But all you do is take Tylenol or Advil to alleviate your headache. You haven't dealt with the sickness yet. You haven't dealt with the disease yet. You're more likely to get sick again. Because the virus is still in your body. The virus is still in your system. And that's exactly how racism is. All we've done is given racism Tylenols and Advils. We haven't dealt with that disease yet. We dealt with slavery. It was abolished. Then as the years moved on, segregation. Then the Civil Rights Act was passed. Then when it was time for us to vote, they brought up something to prevent us from voting. Then the Voting Right Act was passed. Now, police brutality. Do you see that all these things are the same thing? All these things are racism. They just come up with different names to describe them. They just come up with different names, and all we have done is to give it Advil and Tylenol to deal with it on the surface without digging in deep, without going deeper and finding the root of our problems. The only way we can deal with this new name that has been found for racism, police brutality, is to find the vaccine for racism. And that's why we keep marching. We don't want to deal with this in the next 5 years. We don't want to deal with this in the next 10 years. We want this to be over. We're lifting up our voices right now because we want people to hear us. Martin Luther King said that riots are the voice of the unheard. People have closed their ears deaf and refuse to hear us. All they do is try to deal with the surface of the problem. All they've tried to do is to alleviate the surface of the problem and think it's gonna be okay without digging deep and dealing with the cause and root of our problems. We don't want our children or children to pass through the same thing. We want this to end now. We want to be done with it. We're living in a world where the colors of our skins is the least that should divide us. It's the least that should divide us. Thank you guys so much for listening. I hope I was able to pass my message across. Anytime I open social media, I'm so proud of my mates. I see unrelentless people. I see resilient people. I see people that are really going to turn this world around. And I hope we continue to make our voice heard, because we will not be silenced, neither will our spirits be broken.